Hello, everybody, and welcome to Super Wildcard Weekend. This is Chalk Talk. We're going to go ahead and break down this two-game Saturday slate. We're going to do two videos, one for the Saturday slate and then one for the three-game Sunday slate. I'm back from COVID. I didn't appear on the bets show, but we had Chris fill in, but I'm back. Just have the stuffy nose now, but it seems like, Alex, are you the last? Did you ever get it?
I have not yet. I don't know how.
Man.
I don't know how.
Literally, it feels like it's spread through the screen from like Nick.
I know it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, you should be really wearing a mask, PB, please.
Yeah, we need to wear a mask on the show from now on. But all right, we'll go ahead and break this down. Like Corey and I broke this small slate down a week ago. To me, like, we don't really need to go game by game. It's more of just talking about the slate as a whole and more of like a strategic roster construction of, like last week, Tyreek Hill kind of blew up the slate. I know
in a bad way.
Yeah, in a bad way. Yeah. Because I had, which is crazy though, because I almost had 100% Tyreek and I still profited somehow because of the late games with Corey Clement and Kenneth Gainwell and Quez Watkins coming in to save me on the late slate. So
yeah, I won money on Saturday too, and I had
you did too.
Yeah, I did too, and I'm like, how's that even possible?
Because you had a lot. Yeah, you for sure had a lot of Tyreek.
Yeah,
because I basically played all. I know I said that's last slate. We'll talk about this slate now, but I guess we'll start off. I guess we'll just talk about our favorite quarterbacks first, and then how you want to stack. Again, I'm going to emphasize this on every single short slate. I think with whatever quarterback you're playing, especially two-game slates, you need to be stacking with at least two, probably three. If we rewind to just last week as an example, I know Dak ended up getting there. He played the whole game. Think about it was Dak, Corey Clement, Cedric Wilson, Dalton Schultz. Like if you had, it's that for some reason that running back, wide receiver, tight end. It's not always the combination you need, but I think compared to the field on how often they do it, it gives you some leverage. But yes, you should have some other stacks as well with like double wide receiver and a tight end, or running back, tight end, no wide receiver, like mix it up. But what do you guys think off the bat? What are your favorite stacks?
Well, I think since the Vegas game is probably the highest owned percentage on Saturday, just because everyone will look back at recency bias and be like, both these quarterbacks put up massive amounts of yards. They have pretty good. Well, Cincinnati has better receiving core, obviously, than the Chargers, and so for that reason, I think. I mean, both games are going to be, cold weather games, so it favors, it. People say it favors a certain team, but in this situation, I don't think it really does. If it was like snowing and rainy, and then maybe we can go into that and discuss like, does that affect the defense? Because usually in that situation, like the offense has a slight advantage, just because defensive backs are trying to track receivers in like bad weather, and it's hard to do that. But for that reason, I think I'm going to stick to the other game, New England Buffalo. Mm-hmm. It's probably not the most popular opinion, but I know Josh.
I do have ownership in like 4 quarterbacks or like the projections are updated.
So I'm assuming Joe Burrow is probably the highest projected.
He's the second, right? Him and Josh Allen are nearly tied at around 35% ownership.
Yeah.
And then of course, Mac lowest owned around 10%, and Derek Carr between like 25 and 30. So it's really like spread out between Allen, Burrow, and Carr. Like that's where most ownership. And then Mac obviously is going to be the lowest.
Yeah, so I like Josh Allen the most on the slate with his mobility of being able to run the ball and become basically the starting running back for the Buffalo Bills. I like him a little bit more than Joe Burrow, just for the fact that also I trust the offensive line more in Buffalo than I do in Cincy.
And what, so like, again, I know you like Josh Allen, but what's your stack? Like, so like, what are you doing with Josh Allen?
So I'm taking Josh Allen, and then I think it's going to be a two receiver type of performance, and then Dawson Knox at 5,100. He's going to be one of the most popular. It depends on what Darren Waller does. He's probably going to be the most popular or the most expensive player that I'm going to be, working with here in tight ends. I don't think this is a spot that you can really move away from any other tight ends. I mean, you look down New England, Jonnu Smith. I mean, he's 2,700, but he hasn't done anything. And it's like, is it worth the risk? I mean, maybe on the small slate, it could be because, he could get 6-7 points and that's going to win you it. But like, I just don't trust that. I don't trust Mac Jones going on the road again. He's not as efficient on the road than
Bills and Patriots are also like the top two teams against tight ends, I think.
Yeah. So it's not easy, but like, Dawson Knox is a good play. And then you got Diggs. And then this is where it gets interesting because, Buffalo with Sanders, Beasley, Davis, and then even like McKenzie. Like Sanders has not done anything all year. Like besides like the first 3 weeks, he's done nothing. So it's like, do you trust him? I mean, I don't know. And I like Cole Beasley just because one, we don't need him to score 45 points or 30 points, whatever it is. If he can get to like 20 points just by pure, like gets 9 catches and like 90 yards, like
I'm pretty sure. What's Beasley's price?
4,300.
He could get 13 and be on the winner.
What?
Like with a small slate, like he could get 13 and technically be on the winning line.
Yeah, and I like him as a safety valve for Josh Allen, and the amount of like volume he gets like between the sticks is insane, and that's where he does most of his damage. He's not a deep ball type of receiver, and I just like him for the volume that he can potentially receive.
Okay, so before we get to Alex, I just want to confirm. So you like the Allen, like Diggs, Beasley, but if you're stacking that game up more, are you running it back with Patriots?
No,
really,
no.
So more you kind of expect Bills to put up quite a bit of points, Patriots not being able to keep up at all. So then, are you actually gonna put Bills defense in some of your Allen? Like, are you gonna just do a full
I'll do a full on stack because I just don't think. To me, I don't trust. I don't want to put, my chips on a rookie quarterback who's not mobile and he's never been here. I know it's Bill Belichick, but like, he's not been good on the road. Mac Jones, like he's like, I think his stats are like 6 touchdowns and like 6 interceptions. Like he's not efficient at all. And if I'm thinking like the other game, the Cincy Vegas game is probably a little bit more high scoring. I'm just going to try to pick the pieces from that and just, do Bills, Raiders, and Cincy.
Hold on, I need to turn this light on.
So that's
I realized it was so damn dark in here. Jeez.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going with.
Okay. So you're kind of going Bills onslaught and then grabbing pieces of Bengals Raiders. Okay. And then we'll get into like what pieces you like after Alex and I talk about our stack. So Alex, what is your favorite stack?
Yeah. I see where you're coming from, Corey, but I also think that the under in the New England Buffalo game is very much in play. And for that reason, I'm going to be on the other game in terms of my larger stacks and combinations here, particularly on the Cincinnati side, which I have a feeling PB might be on the same side of that. So I don't want to take all the thunder here, but I do.
Well, like what? So Burrow's gonna be your favorite quarterback. What is your favorite? Because Burrow, this is like, I don't think you can get away with just one. You need a minimum of 2, and you can include Mixon as like one of the pass catchers. So what are your favorite stacks with Burrow?
I probably my favorite stack of the Saturday slate here is Burrow, Mixon, Chase, and then running it back with either Waller or Zay Jones.
Or both, yeah.
Or both. Yeah.
Like from what I'm noticing from a lot of lineups I've built is I was getting a lot of Bengals and a lot of Raiders. Mm-hmm. And sometimes like I'll have 4 on one side and 3 on the other, like complete stacking of one game and then like just grabbing one piece in like the other game. So I think that's doable on this slate, just based off of the likelihood that one game can maybe be much more high scoring and the other one just being a complete dud that you really want to capture all the points with. Like if you had like that Chargers Raiders game the other night and the other game was a complete dud, like you don't want any of the pieces from the one, you want them all from the one single game. So,
Right.
but I'm actually going to shock probably both of you. My favorite quarterback, and I actually still think the Bengals win this game. But I think Derek Carr is my favorite quarterback on the slate.
Really?
And yeah, and it's a price point thing. So we have Allen at 8K going against the Patriots, Burrow at 7,300. But Derek Carr at 5,800, I think is just too cheap. And it's because of, well, one, the running back position. Like, I think it gets super thin. Like, I love the top two, Mixon and Josh Jacobs. And then I still like some of the pricier receivers as well. Like, I want to get a few of them in there. And I still like Waller and things like that. So it's just, I have to pay down somewhere. And I think it's better to pay down at the quarterback spot. And I think my favorite, so like if I'm doing Carr, I do like Carr, Josh Jacobs. I don't know, I kind of like Zay Jones and then Waller. That's kind of like one of my favorite stacks on the slate. I think Renfro's snap share has actually gone kind of down. Like you might think he's been playing, but he actually, I think his snap share has gone down to like 65% or something crazy. With Zay Jones coming on.
Yeah, and Waller getting healthy is going to.
Yes, and Waller getting healthy, and he took 9 targets, even though he only caught 2. So yeah, that depends on his health, obviously, if he's going to play this game, which I'm assuming he will. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm going here, and it's kind of like the concept where I talked about this with Corey last week, where I said you could play Drew Lock, but then you play the other side. You play Drew Lock, but you play it like you're playing Mahomes, and you still take the expensive Chiefs pieces like Kelsey and Tyreek. And that, I mean, when you look back, that almost got there with those rushing touchdowns by Lock. And if Tyreek actually has a ceiling game, like there's combos where you might have actually needed Lock last week to win because Lock got like close enough, like I said, where he got close to like 20 or whatever, and Mahomes didn't go crazy, and you actually might have needed him. But it's the same concept where you could go like do the Derek Carr stacks and then you run it back with Mixon, Jamar Chase, and like CJ Uzoma, like where you're playing basically Burrow and Carr in the same lineup.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach too, because you could then, I mean, if you thought game script was going to go in favor of the Bengals, if you want Derek Carr, Mixon, you could even go like Jamar and T. Higgins. And then
yeah. Now if you could do Jamar and T. Higgins. Sometimes like when you get like going like Jamar and T. Higgins because they're both kind of expensive receivers. Like if they both were to get there, then you might need Burrow because like then Burrow's probably going crazy if like Chase and Higgins are getting there. Yeah, but like Uzoma at 3,500, he doesn't need to do that much to get there. I guess Chase and Boyd I like more than probably Chase and Higgins without
because of the price.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
It's more of like what, like just thinking of how pieces get there in lineups. So that's kind of what I'm thinking now. Running backs, I don't know. Like I feel like it's so thin. Like there's like so few plays here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the top two are pretty reliable compared to the rest of the slate. The Patriots, it's going to be hard to pick between one of those guys. I mean, if you take Damian Harris and his hamstring acts up in 0-degree weather, you could be screwed. Alternatively, if he's healthy, he might see 70% of the snaps, and Ramondre, gets 10 handoffs for 50 yards, and you're screwed.
Yeah.
Singletary is tough too, because even though he's the lead back there. I mean, Josh Allen around the goal line and just in general takes away rushing opportunities too.
Yeah.
It's tough. That's a tough slate for running backs for sure.
Wait, what player did your dog just bark at? We might need to take note about that.
Just big Mixon. Mixon
Big fan.
Yeah.
All right, lock
Yeah.
in Mixon. Gotta lock in Mixon.
So last time like Devin Singletary played Patriots, he went 12 for 39 and he had 5 receptions for 39 yards.
Yeah,
and then you could talk about the win game where they played earlier in week 13.
Yeah,
well, 10 for 36. I mean, you kind of just throw that out. So if he's getting the production where he's putting, like, he put up 18 fantasy points last time against the Patriots, and he was $700 cheaper. So it's like, I think it's the Bills rely heavily on Josh Allen. I think they want to die on that hill and keeping the ball in his hands as much as possible. And that's like Alex touched on, like at the goal line, like the 5 yards in, it's like most, like that's when you think most running backs can get the points. But like we've seen Josh Allen, like 2 weeks ago, he carried the ball, he scored 3 rushing touchdowns within like the 5, and they were designed runs for him. It wasn't like he was scrambling. Like they have designed runs for Josh Allen, and that's why like he's probably like one of my favorites, because you're getting two positions out of one quarterback.
It's more of just like it's a price thing for me.
I totally understand, but like, I mean,
and there's paths to where he gets there, like to where he's on the winner, and I think that path is more of like some of the more expensive pieces really fit. It's just really hard for me. Like it's gonna be hard for me not to play like Mixon and Josh Jacobs, or like I feel like the Singletary, Jacobs, and Mixon are gonna be like the only running backs in my player pool. Like I don't have trust right now in Damian Harris and Stevenson and Bolden, especially if the Bills get ahead. Damian Harris relies so much on touchdowns. Like I just want to get up to these more expensive running backs. And then at receiver, I kind of want, some of these. There's Chase, Diggs. Those are the guys at the top.
I don't like Diggs as much because he's going to see J.C. Jackson most of that game.
Yeah. The Raiders do, like, people sleep
Raiders
on
give up the bomb, like long ball though, like fairly.
I mean, I just think Herbert's much better than Derek Carr.
Oh, 100%. No, I'm playing with Jamar Chase.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I guess like Burrow. I don't know why I'm thinking Derek Carr. I have COVID brain.
COVID brain. I got a real thing
now. Yeah, I mean Burrow's like we saw them, beat the Raiders earlier, but I forget who did well. I feel like Mixon had a really big game last time they played. Like from what I remember, I feel like it was more of a defensive and Mixon game.
Chase only had 13
Mixon
points.
I think Boyd might have scored a touchdown.
Mixon went off.
Yeah, Mixon had a big game.
He had 30 carries, 123, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
no receptions. But so, I mean, if you think that's going to happen, I mean, the Raiders, that's their weakest point is to run. So, yeah, I mean, but so like if you were to this just quickly through in a lineup, just like.
Well, is this when we start just building, out lineups?
I think so, because then.
Also, I think my only tight ends are going to be Waller and Uzomah. I don't think I'm going to touch any others.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that makes me want to play Hunter Henry is because he's like a primary pass catcher, and Mac Jones looks for his safety valves a lot, especially.
I think if I were to play those guys, though, I'd just throw in some Mac Jones lineups. Like I would play like Mac Jones, Brandon Bolden, like someone who catches passes, Jacoby Myers, and like Hunter Henry or something. Like if I were to actually play Patriots tight ends, but okay. So Corey, you were the Josh Allen guy, so let's kind of start out with.
Looks like he might have to wait for a sec. So we'll run Cincy here really quick.
Yeah, you go for that Burrow.
Let's see what Burrow,
Mixon,
and Chase leaves us with, because that's probably the priciest stack of the Saturday games.
Yeah. That or, well, yeah, I guess if you add the running back in there, yeah, that's the price. Yes. Now you could probably, yeah,
You're at Zay Jones.
yeah, that's good. That's a good pick. Running back, I mean, I feel like Josh Jacobs or Singletary for the second one.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Singletary here just for the $800.
Two tight ends, since we have Burrow, probably Uzoma, and Raiders are terrible against tight ends.
Yeah.
Defense, what, Bills?
Yeah. Let's see what Bills leaves us with.
5,600, so we have
Not
plenty.
bad.
So now, so we have we have 4 Bengals now. So now we probably want another Raider. I mean, can we fit in Jacobs? Like Singletary, Jacobs, and Mixon?
Yeah, I mean,
And yeah, we have 4,700, and this is where you wouldn't pick like the obvious. Like if you pick Tyler Boyd, your lineup's gonna be duplicated for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
And we already have 4
in there
Bengals.
maybe.
Maybe we go down. Yeah, maybe like Gabe Davis and leave 800,
Davis or Beasley.
something like that. Like that. That's kind of a Burrow build right there.
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid build.
I do like getting the leverage here of all 3 of the backs that we think have the best chance of doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I don't think it's like I feel like this is going to be a low scoring slate. Just because I don't know, in my opinion, I think both games could be lower scoring. I think the Raiders Bengals will be higher scoring than the other one, but I just think both could end up being lower scoring overall with the weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I like that Burrow build for sure.
Corey, you want to do a Josh
Yeah.
on here?
Yeah. So throw Allen, and then you can get some Mixon and Jacobs.
Okay.
And then throw in Beasley and Diggs.
Yeah, that's your 3 stack there.
And then you can get the Zay Jones side.
What defense? I'm assuming are you
I'm gonna go Bills.
Okay, so yeah, that's unique. I think having like Allen, Diggs, Beasley, Bills. So far, no Patriots. I think that won't be as common.
And then for tight ends, I don't think you can get to Waller. Well, you can, but then this is where it gets dicey, where you're only left with 3,800.
It's like you're paying what for either. Oh, I mean, you could throw Zoma in.
Yeah, so you could.
I actually really like Zoma, but you could go the double tight end route. But
yeah, which I don't mind on these slates, especially.
I don't either.
Especially in a game, if you're expecting, the Cincy Vegas game to be high scoring and just hopefully grabbing the right pieces, then you could do it that way. But then if you were to exchange Waller and just use Uzama, you're left with 6,000, and you have plenty of options for your flex here. So you can get up to Singletary if you really want to, but it wouldn't make in my eyes. I don't think Singletary gets there. I think Josh Allen is the one who does it. Just because of his past games, in a meaningless game not meaningless against the Jets. Like they had to win to win the division. He carried the ball 5 times for 63 yards. Atlanta, he carried the ball 15 times and he had 2 touchdowns for 81 yards. And then last time they played against New England, he had 12 carries for 64 yards. That's insane.
What is
I get not, I understand Singletary and Allen can definitely be negatively correlated for sure. I just think it's just more of a leverage thing, because a lot of people will think that way, and that's why it's less common by putting both of them in the same lineup. But and whenever you get that catch, that passing touchdown, you're just golden. But yeah, so you have 6,000. So I guess you could put you could put Jacoby Myers. You could put Tyler Boyd and leave 1,400 and get there's a lot of different ways you could get different here.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking right here is like, I like this initial setup right here. And then, just taking a couple pieces in and out, and just building off of this lineup. I really do think this is what I'm going to be doing on Saturday.
Okay. All right. So we did which two? We did Burrow and Allen.
Yeah.
All right. So now we'll go ahead and do the Derek Carr. So Derek Carr, we'll go put Mixon and Jacobs. Tight end Waller. Defense Bills. So I mean, since you paid that, let's see what happens if you. I mean, it's not. I don't really like Renfro, but like, let's just see what it allows you to do here. So that's all the Raiders we're gonna do. Now we need get T Higgins in there. I do think T is a really good play. And I guess you could get like Cole Beasley. Okay, yeah, this is why I don't think I like Renfro. Get Renfro out and put in probably Zay Jones. I think I'm gonna like that's gonna be some of my leverage is like swap like doing like Carr Jacobs, Deshaun Jackson Waller, Carr Jacobs, Brian Edwards, like trying to get some of these off the wall plays. But yeah, Zay Jones is probably like gonna be the chalkiest of them all. And then 7,200 left. What does that allow us to get? Yeah, Singletary. You leave 1,400. But like, see, so see, like even go like if with $1,400 left, I don't even think you can get up to Burrow or right. Yeah,
No, you can't.
See? So it's like you can't have a lineup like this without Derek Carr. That's one of the reasons I really like Carr on the slate is. And that's leaving 1,400. Like you could still be doing all sorts of different things where you can't get from Carr to Burrow or Allen, but you could still get all these other skill position players and like you could put Diggs in there. You could put, it allows you to get, I think, 2 of those stud receivers.
Yeah, it definitely opens up a lot of options right there. So I see why Derek Carr is your favorite, one of your favorite plays, just because of what it allows you to do with the rest of your salary and what you can, place in a lineup. And it does open up a lot of options there.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I think that's where I'm going to be living on this slate. Of course, I'm still going to I'll probably have the second most Burrow and Allen I'll have a few lineups, which obviously that's scary because he can definitely just torch you, but that's how I'm going to be living and dying this week on the Saturday slate.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Corey or I will be doing pretty well. Actually, one of us, I think, will, because you're on Burrow, you're on Allen, I'm on Carr. One of us has to be doing well. Like, unless Mac
Jones. It's
Mac
not Mac
Jones
Jones.
is going to burn us all.
I'm confident it is not Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I guess one of us should have a story for next week.
Yeah.
If we all play a bunch of variations of our quarterback. But yeah, so that's kind of, I guess, the final thoughts on this. I'm trying to think of any I think, okay, I guess some of the biggest leverage spots that I'll just point out just based off of ownership. It's looking like, even though I don't like Damian Harris and Ramondre Steve, okay, I'll just say Patriots running backs are leverage on this slate just because of their ownership. Defenses, Bills and Bengals will be the most popular. So Patriots and Raiders. I guess my favorite would be the Patriots, just because I think they have a better defense than the Raiders.
They do, but the thing I can see why the Raiders get there is because of the uncertainty with the Bengals offensive line. If like if they're get off to the shaky start and you get Max Crosby and who's the other defensive end there, like going crazy. Yeah, I mean, and they get four or 5 sacks. I mean, they could get there. So I don't mind going off and picking up the Raiders in a couple of places.
Yeah, for sure. And the tight ends, it's looking like obviously Waller is the most popular, Uzoma second most popular. So Dawson Knox and the Patriots tight ends are the leverage at tight end. And then at wide receiver, your biggest leverage is going to be
Probably the Pats, some of the Pats guys, right?
yeah, not even like Jacoby's still projecting to have,
Kendrick Bourne.
30%. It's more like the Kendrick Bournes. I still think, or let's see, like the really punt guys, because this is what we talk about. I guess we'll wrap it up with like every single week, or not every single week, on these short slates, there's always like some of these off, like what was it last week? It was McCole Hardman and Quez Watkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Cedric Wilson was popular and he got there. But yeah, it was McCole Hardman and Quez Watkins is like the low owned cheap guys that kind of blew up. So where are you guys gonna have some of your cheap, just disgusting plays?
Well, the fact is that McCole Hardman only got there because Tyreek hurt himself.
I get it, but like weird. But Quez Watkins would have still.
Yeah, well, for the Eagles side is like basically a crapshoot with the 4 receivers there because they're like, well, they're not going to be playing Devontae Smith the entire game, so it's like, which one of these guys who are like within the same price range, like $2 difference is going to get there? And I was on, Rager and thinking that he would do it, but yeah, just Quez. I think where it's going to get a little dicey. I think it's one of the Raiders' lower owned or cheaper plays. Like I know Edwards hasn't been getting much targets, or last week he got a lot of targets.
4 or 5.
Yeah, and it's like if he gets like 3-4 catches and like a touchdown, he could be
likely in it.
Because a lot of people are going to be on Zay Jones of like.
Zay Jones is going to be one of the most popular 4K.
So maybe reaching down and grabbing Edwards instead of Zay Jones is a play that you could go to.
Yeah, since I'm on Carr, it's going to be more of like Edwards, and I'm going to probably have to have a little bit of Deshaun Jackson just because
you just need one out of him.
Yeah, that's it. Like he breaks that long one, and that's it. He broke the slate.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's like a prime like candidate where just he'll be completely unknown. Like nobody's playing Deshaun Jackson. You play him in the Millie Maker and he catches that 80-yard touchdown. I mean, you separate yourself. Like your lineup goes like boom, just way ahead the second that happens. And especially in like a small field tournament, my gosh, you're blowing past everyone. So I like, but I guess, I don't know, since you like Allen, I don't know, someone like Isaiah McKenzie might fit.
It's the other thing. Like maybe actually, you know what, Sanders, I understand. I was just
Sanders
trashing him.
Sanders is pretty good leverage, I think.
But like he could be it. He hasn't done anything like all year, so he's
projected at like 2% ownership right now.
I'd say no one's going to pick him coming off an injury and doing nothing all year. So if he has a game,
everyone would rather play Beasley, Gabe Davis, or Diggs. Like
they got too many guys at that like 40
Manny's actually
to 4K range.
Yeah,
he's like, what do you like when you think about the pivot right off of Zay Jones? It's him.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I'll have some.
Manny Sanders.
Jesus.
What?
I mean, if we were talking about like week 1 or 2, but like, oh yeah, that's great. And then now we're here in super wildcard weekend, and I'm talking about putting Manny Sanders in my Millie Maker.
You have to find on these, and you know what's funny is every single one of these plays when I'm running in the 150, I put a minimum of, I have to have one. So I'll have a minimum. I'll have at least one lineup with one of these guys, and so at least if they go off, I'll have one share of them and hopefully have the right combo. But
yeah. That's what it is. It's unlocking that combination. And
if
you do it correctly, whoo, baby. It's going to be a nice Saturday. Maybe early retirement.
But that's going to do it for the Saturday slate. And then, we'll go ahead and get this Sunday one filmed right after this. But thank you guys for watching. Please comment your favorite, we'll say your favorite off the wall play that's going to break this the Saturday slate on Super Wildcard Weekend. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a review if you're listening on Spotify. And we'll see you in the next video, which is probably tomorrow for the Sunday slates. So
see ya.